Despite the lackluster name, there is a lot to talk about this guy. Hey guys, MasakoX here. Now today we're going to be taking a look at the big bad, or at least the final form of the big bad that was Zamasu. Merged Zamasu. Although I'm still saddened by the fact that he's not named Blamasu, his effect on the storyline was still quite potent. The first time I struck eyes on this form, I really had the feeling of, oh dang, how are they actually going to get themselves out of this mess? Which is something that the Goku Black art did a lot to good effect. Shame it had to all fall apart at the end. Ugh, man, if only it just ended at episode 66. However, we mustn't reflect too much on just one small part of the arc, and instead see how Merged Zamasu left an impact on the entire endgame. The fact of the matter is that this form is the culmination of everything that Zamasu and Goku Black believed in. It was an interesting storyline which saw Zamasu's own warped vision of the pinnacle of godly evolution. In this guy's eyes, this is what a god could become if they just believed enough. I gotta believe! It was the icing on the cake of godly creation. Or destruction in the eyes of some people. In my Super Saiyan Rose explanation video, as well as my Super Saiyan Color Theory video, I went to great lengths to explain how many times that Zamasu and Goku Black talked about how great their achievements were, how they would wax lyrical to anyone that had a heartbeat, and sometimes those who didn't. How close they were to their ultimate goal, a new and better world rid of any sort of ningen. Or mortals. People? I wonder how the dub's gonna handle that. So today, along with my trusty and knowledgeable pal Havarok over on my Discord, we are gonna actually try and tackle what's the meaning of Merged Zamasu, because yeah, he looks kinda cool, but there's a lot of hidden meaning in that noggin of his, and that little thing around him. Well, it all starts with what I talked about, the most visually obvious piece of evidence. The achievement of the Sahaswara Crown Chakra, with the pink and rose color hair with Goku Black. That was the starting point. Now, if you missed my Super Saiyan Chakra video, I recommend that you give it a watch, but if you haven't got the time to do that right now, I'll give you a brief explanation, and give you this quote from Zen Lama, which I used in that previous video. It is concerned with information, understanding, acceptance, and bliss. It is said to be your own place of connection to God, the chakra of divine purpose and personal destiny. Blockage can manifest as psychological problems. That small quote is littered with nods to Zamasu's characteristics, and how it is affected by the cosmic energy which circulates around every single being and thing that could possess chakra. At this point in the story, Zamasu and Goku Black are full of wonderment, bliss, and comprehension about their own mission. Well, at least in their own heads. To them, what they are doing is right and will be beneficial in the long run of reality. With just them in it. Well, I hope they brought a deck of cards to pass the time, or is that too ningen for them? Further to my research, the Sahaswara Chakra point can also be blended with another colour if the right conditions are met. Not only could it be rose or violet or some kind of pinkish tint, it could also just be pure white, like it's glowing profusely. The crown chakra is related to spiritual life and experience, the connection to the divine, a sense of oneness, pure consciousness and transcendence. Again, all things that Zamasu and Goku Black exude at some point in the arc. Once Zamasu had merged with Goku Black via Potara fusion, his white hair was retained in the complete fusion, which could also be a visual signifier of the crown chakra inside their combined body, only just amped up by 10,000% or whatever. Naturally, you could assume that the white hair color is just a part of the fusion dealie. In fusion, you share attributes with two separate beings, and then they are combined into one completely different being. Now, in regular Potara, either the more dominant personality of the two is used in the new being, like say with the Elder Kai, or if the personalities are quite evenly matched or there's not much between them, then you get something along the lines of Vegito, which is a completely new personality instead of just one dominating another. Now, since Zamasu's mind was effectively in two bodies, all that we got instead was an amplification of, well, two Zamasu. Zamasai, if you will. However, the white hair could have something to do with their chakra, as well as the aura that is often seen emanating from them. Merged Zamasu's hair is white, and his aura is mostly white too. In chakra circles, if your own aura, or in this case with Dragonball your transformation hair color, is too white, it could denote many things such as an attuned spirituality, a higher level of consciousness, purity, yeah right, coldness, and a sense of detachment, like you're in some kind of dead zone of existence. No, don't worry, not that dead zone, another kind of dead zone. Don't worry, there's no Garlic Jr. here. Also, if the white chakra is shown to be glowing and shining instead of just being existence like in just the hair, it may also mean an exudeness of opulence and attuned spirituality. So there's a lot of spirituality going on in Zamasu because he's the ultimate god or something. Zamasu was a pretty brash and pompous individual at the best of times, but when he merged with Goku Black, or more accurately, just another version of himself, that was just amped up even more. The feeling of coldness was amplified as well. He had no other emotion other than aspiration, the fact that he had now achieved his ultimate form and could then act out his ultimate divinity. He had risen past the level of any kind of living creature and had become the god to end all other gods. However, Merged Zamasu had not only forgotten about the drawbacks of Potara fusion, as we saw later on in that story, but also forgot about the challenges that come around with the crown chakra. On the website Chakra Anatomy, it lists the gifts and challenges that come around with overexploiting a particular kind of crown chakra. Here's a short excerpt. The biggest challenge of Violet/White on a mental level is overindulging in earthly pursuits and getting stuck in their way of thinking, unwilling to open up to other ideas, thoughts, or knowledge. When it is blocked or excessive, it manifests as psychosis, disassociation from the body, being disconnected, and being ungrounded. Zamasu is probably one of the most closed-minded characters in all of Dragon Ball, I think. Not once do I recall is he swayed to change his mind by any of the characters to any kind of effect. Now you could argue that Goasu was the closest anyone ever got to try and temper Zamasu or calm him down, but even then, that was all in vain. That didn't really work out. Once the Green Kaya got it into his little head that Goku and all other mortals should be punished for exploiting the energy of the heavenly gods, as well as just being impure in general, he had to do something about it. He was going to act upon it and nothing would stop him. Now whenever Zamasu was met with either conflict or resistance by a particular party, you could start to see the integrity of his psyche slowly being chipped away each and every time. And this was only accelerated further once he had fused with Goku Black. By the time you get to his fight with Vegito, and slightly before that, you could see him start to literally break down before you. Especially when you use transformations with Potara fusion, you're just gonna be in a whole lot of trouble. Oops, somebody should have told Goku Black to power down first. Oh well! Their blinkered vision was the pair's undoing. The article continues. Spiritual and mystical experiences of the crown chakra are temporary for most of us. Only a few rare individuals in history have attained and sustained the level of consciousness from the perspective of balanced crown chakra. Among these individuals are Buddha, Jesus, and Lao Tzu. For most of us, experiences of crown chakra color violet are fleeting moments of transcendence, glimpses of the highest level of reality. Zamasu had pumped up the Sahasrara to pure brilliant white, exuding its power greater than any other being could ever possibly imagine, and he paid for it. But, if left undisturbed, he would have been able to sustain this indefinitely. Well, that is if he wasn't obliterated by Trunks and then later the Omni King. By actually realizing his dream, Zamasu had actually risen himself to the same level of spirituality of some of Earth's most recognizable religious icons, and he reveled in this. Oh, okay Masako, you've gone on about chakra and color long enough. What else is there about this character? Well, remember when Zamasu was up in the air and doing that kind of weird shield wind thing like you see here? Something that looks like it resembles the love child of a star in a plate? Well, there is a reason for that. To understand it, we have to go back, once again, to the Sahasrara. Now, usually, the chakra point is represented by a 1,000-leaf lotus flower. Now, this being Toei, they are not going to be drawing 1,000 individual petals because Either it would look crummy, or it really just would be so intricate that us as an audience wouldn't really truly be able to appreciate it. Instead, they used this design to represent the lotus crown, and as you can see, the chakra point for the Sahaswara is usually seen around here at the top of the head. And where is it? Around the top of the head and beyond. And when you heard Zamasu talking, not only did he have some kind of trippy audio filter on a technical level, but he had risen to another plane, like he was some kind of psychological and religious entity, like he wasn't a physical being anymore. This all stems back to the whole chakra and Buddhism debate. Now, when a yogi is able to raise his or her kundalini, their level of consciousness, and raise the energy of their consciousness up to this point, they have achieved a state of nirvikalpa samadhi. So what's that when it's at home? When the mind proceeds towards self-absorption, it passes through all these stages one by one to reach the absolute nirvikalpa state at last. In the process of entering into samadhi, first the universe appears as one mass of ideas, then the whole thing loses itself in a profound Om. Then even that melts away. Even that seems to be between being and non-being. That is the experience of the eternal nada, and then the mind becomes lost in the reality of Brahman, and then it is done. All is peace. In Dragon Ball Super, Zamasu had achieved the state of Nirvikalpa Samadhi. He was able to see all of the universes all at once. His vision was clear. He could see everything. This stage is said to bring about cosmic rebirth, occult powers transforming into the divine, and being able to do whatever one wishes. He had reached a point where he was everywhere and nowhere, and was impervious to any kind of petty mortal attack. Well, I mean, that is until the likes of Kaioken Blue came in and ruined his day. Once Zamasu had been blasted in the face by a full power Kamehameha, and his mortal side, thanks Goku Black, was turning to purple mush, his state of Nirvikalpa Samadhi was disrupted. And upon further beating, now that he was distracted, all courtesy of Goku, his lotus crown was ultimately destroyed. From that point onwards, all the challenges that come with the Sahaswara crown chakra started to rear their ugly heads. Things such as psychosis, confusion, frustration, fragmentation, and spiritual crises began to flare up inside Zamasu. It was plain to see. Had Zamasu been fully mortal, then he would have dissolved in complete and utter madness, from which there would have been no recovery. We could have seen some pretty gory and disturbing shots of Zamasu's psychosis exuding itself and getting worse and worse with every passing second. However, we then have to remember that this is a show that is being broadcast on Japanese morning television Sunday mornings at 9 AM. There is only so much you can do at that time of day. Oh man, that's a shame. I would love to see more existential crises in my Dragon Ball. So there we have it. Merged Zamasu was not only a celebration, but also a degradation of Zamasu's ultimate Zero Mortal plan. Now you could argue that Zamasu's transcendence into the heavens and then engulfing the earth in clouds of himself could actually be considered successful. Did the bad guys win? It was only because Goku was besties with the Omni King that Zamasu's plan was halted in its tracks. Maybe it would have been best if they hadn't fused after all. Or if somebody had told Goku Black to power down before you bloody fuse! You could say that Zamasu and his entire progression from being the attendant of a Supreme Kai to some kind of evil super god is the most profound and most developed evil arc that has ever been in Dragon Ball. I actually doubt that we'll see any kind of being, be they a god or a mortal, actually outdo Zamasu's grandiose plans, or be actually that kind of enlightening. Because it is worth noting that all of his drama and his pomposity and his rhetoric was something that kept us coming back for more Dragon Ball Super, at a time when the series desperately needed attention and to show that it could stand up on its own and not have to rehash movie arcs. It did the job, but it did fumble the landing. Oh well. So what do you guys think? Did you find this video interesting? Is there something about Zamasu that I might have missed? Leave a comment below and let's get this discussion going. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Until the next one, be sure to like and subscribe. Catch you later!